What's up, guys? We got a question from Richard Duke on YouTube. He says, another person requested it. I couldn't find that other person you were talking about, but he says, please talk about some of your favorite submission chains and maybe a little bit of how to develop and practice, our own sequences. So I guess you're asking me like what my submission chain is and maybe to give you a little insight on how you can make your own. So Richard, hopefully this video is helpful to you, brother. Thank you for the question. So I'm going to talk about my submission chain. And this submission sequence that I'm showing you started as a white belt. Literally some of the same techniques that I used as a white belt, I still use to this day. They just got better, right? Because you find little things. Now, I'm gonna go through my series just kind of briefly, right? Kind of show you the overview of what I look for a lot of times. And then afterwards, I'm gonna talk about how you can develop your own sequence and a little thing that you need to be careful not to do, okay? So when I get to side control, after I pass the guard, right? I typically start by going to a reverse side control, scooping up the shoulder, and immediately setting up this Kimura. I like to attack the Kimura, step over the head, that kind of thing, right? If the person straightens out his arm, I then start to attack straight arm locks. From there, I typically don't mess with key locks too much anymore. Sometimes if I'm in this position and I can't get this arm to pull out and he lifts, a lot of times their head kind of comes up, I'll shoot in for this north-south choke. From there, those are my bread and butters. If those don't work, I'll step over to mount and I'll begin to advance position here, okay? As soon as I attack mount, we've got a handful of options. I always try to start by isolating the arm, so I can start to put pressure. From this, a lot of times what I'll get from this is the big roll or the turn. Right here, I can set up my straight arm lock here, or set off to the side. Or if he keeps his arm defended, I'll take the back. And again, as soon as I go to the back, I'm looking for the rear naked choke here to try to finish. From here, one of my last submissions from this series, and again, this is no gi. If the gi was there, we'd have some collar chokes. One of my last submission series is that I will bait the person to escape. As he escapes, I set up this reverse key lock from the back mount, okay? And then if that doesn't work and he escapes, I come back up and basically go through the cycle again and again and again until I get something, okay? Now, that's kind of a basic overview of some of the submissions that I personally use. Now, how do you do your own? How do you get your own chain of submissions, your own sequence? Because I think we all want that, right? We all want that like deep game in jiu-jitsu where, you've got like a million different moves. Like for instance, Chad's triangle game, right? Like, well, we were filming this series. I talked about this before. When we were actually filming the series that he did on the website, I was like, there was so much stuff that he knew from the position that I've never seen that I didn't know he knew, right? So I thought that was very cool. There's this very deep game there. But the reason that deep game comes into play, and this is what I really wanted to focus on in this video for you guys, is it came from mistakes and it came from failures, right? A lot of you guys send me messages and you're saying, oh man, I had this really cool submission, it ain't working anymore. Or I had this really cool like guard pass, it's not working anymore. That's a good thing, right? Because in the gym, that's the way that you get these A, B, C, D, chains. Because if move A worked from the very first time, then you don't need a move B. You got move A, it's good, it works. The only reason you get the move B and you add it into that sequence is because you needed a move B. Just like me, what I got with that Kimura, the only reason I have those other submissions off of it is because the other one didn't work. So what I do is I look at it, and you have to be open to that. And that's why I say don't get too frustrated with it. You have to be open to the mistake that pops up, because it's telling you something. It's like, hey man, listen, there's either a mistake that you're making or there's another opportunity there, but you got to be able to look at it objectively, and you can't do that if you get upset about it. And I say that that's one of the things that a lot of people do. They get upset when their moves don't work. Don't be upset. It's there to help you. Just like your training partners, it's the coolest thing about having good training partners. Like Chad and I do this all the time. Chad will come in one day with a move and he'll like catch me in it. Okay. So the next day I come in and I'm ready for that move and I stop the move. Right? And so then he's forced to adjust to that one, and then we just go back and forth like that. And likewise, I'll come in and hit Chad on a move, and then the next day he'll come in and he'll defend it. And then I'll make an adjustment to it. And we just do this, this building process with each other. And then again, when you go to a tournament or if you go to another gym and roll, you'll find that a lot of times your A-B works, and you don't have to use those other techniques that you got into with your training partners. So I hope that makes sense there, brother. So in the gym, to make your own sequences, do what you're doing, right? Whatever you're doing is fine. And then look for the mistakes that are popping up, look for the little failures along the way, and see what other opportunities are there that you can sort of build upon, and that'll actually be the way that you're going to basically build your game from then on. So, thanks for the question. I'll talk to you guys next time.